All right, so we're here. This is Carla Johnson. I'm Eric Jackson. This is Uninhibited Talk. We met through an online site that I run, and Carla found me through her teaching of sex education and said, hey, we need to work together. So here we are, and today we're filming in Philadelphia, and Carla brought her cousin.
Hello.
And Carla's cousin and she happened to be having this crazy conversation one day as they were in the drugstore.
We were in the drugstore.
And they thought that it would be good to share on film.
Yes. So we went into our favorite drugstore, and our local drugstore, local neighborhood drugstore.
Right.
And cousin actually saw a friend of hers who works there. So he said, if you need help, just let me know. We're gonna, make sure you ladies get everything you need. We said, fine.
But he wasn't expecting that, I'm sure.
No.
I'm sure he was talking about aspirin and Band-Aids.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. So cousin and I got into the discussion on the blow your hair back.
Hang on 1 second for this guy. And then we'll just splice it together. So we got in the conversation about blow your hair
The
back.
blow your hair back, and we realized when we got there was a guy actually stocking the shelf. So cousin and I just decided we were going to talk about the items that we found there. So
Right.
what did we find, cousin?
We found Pleasure, the Twister, the Blow Your Hair Back. We found the also.
Now these, let me get this right. These are sex toys that the blow your hair back is like that one they advertise on TV where
Yes.
the girl has her.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes. And we were in the aisle, and it was happened to be a salesperson that was in the aisle also.
A male salesperson.
Exactly.
Okay.
So while I'm sitting there, discussing what I should get and what was the appropriate thing to get,
What's the best item you
what's
sell?
the best item, actually, he froze up. He acted like he didn't even want to, be there with us.
Now, without being biased, was it a white guy or a black guy?
No, he was
No,
a black
it was
guy.
a black guy.
He was a black guy.
And he got that choked up
Yes, he was
in
choked up.
talking to you about anything
Yes.
sexual and
No.
personal.
Actually, we weren't trying to be sexual or
Right,
personal.
right.
We wanted to know about the items. He said he was a sales guy.
Yes.
We went to the different items and started to ask questions. He literally just got up and left.
Yes.
He was that
He left.
thrown by it.
Actually, because I'm kind of blunt with stuff that I say, so I actually said, damn, I wonder if this would make my hair blow back also.
And that's the appropriate question.
Yes.
If that's what they're advertising.
Right.
If you're buying a protein drink, you want to know if it's going to build muscle.
Exactly.
If you're buying a sex toy, you want to know if it's
Right.
called the blowback,
Right.
hair back. You want to know if it's actually going to make that happen. That seems very logical.
And then I asked him about the thing that you put on your finger,
Okay.
the little
The touch, the
right,
Trojan
the
touch.
Trojan touch, right?
Or a bullet,
Or a bullet. So I just started naming different sex items, different sex toys. He got so scared, his face just turned red.
Yeah. If you could say so.
Yeah,
But your
right.
friend actually decided to come over and try to help us. The
Right.
friend who was actually the security guard.
Right.
And he was actually shocked that they had those items in the store that he works in.
So he didn't even know that this is on the shelf.
Yes, he
No.
didn't even know.
He had higher expectations of it being somewhere else.
Right.
In a different store, like a toy store.
Yes.
Right.
Adult toy store.
Adult toy store.
So we actually went through some of the items, and he was actually confused. He didn't know the difference between a bullet, a vibrator, a dildo. He didn't know the difference between anything. So we were, in essence, trying to explain these items to him and what they were used
So
for.
you were attempting to give him a sexual education.
We tried.
Right, we tried.
We tried.
And he's a security guard, so you have to give credit to the fact that that's not his position.
No, it's not. It's not.
But as a man in America, and I assume an adult man, he should have some awareness of these things.
Well, actually, I asked him. I asked him, was he comfortable with, sex toys? Dildos and vibrators. I mean, who's not?
Apparently he wasn't.
Apparently a lot
Right.
more people than we would think,
Right.
because unfortunately we have open minds,
Right.
and that's why we're uninhibited.
And so does the drugstore, apparently, because they sell these items.
Well, the
they
pharmacy,
advertise.
I think, probably does it more for profit because they've realized, just like Trojan has realized, that, hey, wait a second, we're missing out on an entire market
Right.
because we're not addressing these things that women need.
Correct. Correct.
And or men, for that matter.
Correct.
I think there needs to be a little bit more education there. We did have one woman stop by and kind of glance. She looked afraid. She didn't know if she really wanted to look at the items. I'm not even sure if she knew what she was looking at. And as other people walked by, she kind of got embarrassed. So there needs to be more of an education. I think women are curious, but they're afraid of what other people will think of them. And of course, men aren't going to know if their women aren't talking to them about
Correct.
it.
And I encountered the same thing in Walmart with a couple of girlfriends of mine.
Wow.
And we
Walmart.
were in the condom aisle, and she called her female friend over rather than calling me over. Knowing my sex background, knowing my education, I would have expected her to be close enough with me to say, hey, Jackson, come over here. Tell me which one of these is going to be the best.
Right.
Because I can tell you that 3,400 RPMs is going to be your best item if you can find something in that range.
Right.
But she was so self-conscious that for her, she would rather call an inexperienced girl over than call the guy that she knows has experience. Because just simply because of the uncomfortable feelings that America and human sexuality have. Earlier I was filming a couple of guys across the street on unicycles, and one of the guys is from New Zealand, and he was amazed that when I told him about the show we were filming, and he was amazed that when he came to America, that it was offensive to show breasts on TV, but there was no problem showing murders
Right.
on the
Right.
street.
Right.
And his concern was everybody has breasts. Everybody. And
Everyone.
some of the guys' breasts are bigger than the
The
girls'
girls'
breasts.
Yes.
And some of the guys need to be putting on bras just as well as the girls need to be putting on bras.
Right.
And he was, he's been in the country for about 10 years, but he explained that that was one of his biggest surprises coming into America, was that single factor.
A friend of mine mentioned thinking that was odd as well. She's actually from the UK, and even though there's not a whole lot of nudity, their commercials are a lot racier, they're seemingly a lot more open. Her idea was, look, we're allowed to say racist things and to print racist publications here as a First Amendment right, freedom of speech, but it's totally illegal to write or to expose yourself.
And the gender
that's-
difference, so I can take my shirt off right now on the street in Philadelphia, but if either of you did, there would be a
Exactly.
problem.
Oh,
Right,
yeah, we'd
right.
be arrested totally.
But it's
Especially
the
more
same-
her than me.
But it's the exact same body parts.
Right.
It's the exact same everything. Yet that's the thinking that goes on in our country, and it's got to change, people.
It really
It's really
does.
got to change.
If we want to focus people on sexual health, we have to talk about education and what's actually going on out there. There's a lot of young, old, and in between that are actually confused about issues, sexuality, STDs. So we really need to talk about those things. And I think the instances of STDs and possibly even cheating would go down if people would know more about
teen pregnancy
education.
Yes.
Absolutely.
would be reduced. STDs would
Sure.
clearly be reduced.
And the amount of STDs, you know, one type can lead to another. Having one triples your chance to having another. So, yeah, this is something we need to talk about.
All right,
definitely.
we're going to cut because of the rain,
Yes.
and we're going to resume in a couple of minutes.